Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our webinar, Moments That Matter, from Remarketing to Nurturing and Beyond. We have partnered with a great company, Emma. Emma helps to build smarter email programs that maximize the power of marketing's most effective channel. They're built for modern marketing teams who want to create personalized and effective email programs. They have over 50,000 clients across the spectrum, from small agencies to large brands like Jacuzzi or Mario or Bridgestone and more. So we're super excited to be working with these guys today. And here on the line, I have Jamie Bradley. She is the content marketing strategist at Emma. Jamie is a content marketing strategist, like I said, and can typically be found hunkered down at the email headquarters in Nashville, creating live presentations, downloadable content, webinars, and playing a key role in large-scale self-produced events like Emma's annual Marketing United conference. So, Jamie, thank you so much for joining us. And also on the line, I have Erin Sagan. Erin Sagan is our PPC evangelist. She has specialized in paid search for over 5 years and was voted the #3 most influential PPC expert of 2015. Erin also enjoys taking long walks into the city from Boston, sometimes up to 10 miles, believe it or not. So you'll find her hunkered down with some boots on, going through the snow, getting into Boston. She's quite the adventurer. She also enjoys travel, mainly to beaches. So Erin, so happy to have you on the line here.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here today. And now that Noelle has aired all my weird and dirty secrets, let's go ahead and get started. So let me just get this slide moving along here. All right, so before we dive in and really start looking at the moments that matter, I wanted to briefly review the funnel with you. A lot of you guys are probably totally familiar with this, but just want to get everybody on the same playing field. So we're going to talk about this a lot today. We're going to talk about ensuring that you're filling your funnel and getting people into the top of the funnel, that you're then nurturing those existing leads, teaching them more about your company and yourself, and encouraging them to eventually convert down at the bottom of your funnel. So we'll probably be referencing this funnel quite a bit today. Wanted to make sure everybody had this ice cream cone shape in their mind.
It's delicious looking.
Yes, right? And the conversion is like little chocolate at the bottom. I could definitely go for one of these right now.
Exactly.
All right, so first things first, let's talk about problem number one. And if we go back and think about that ice cream cone, in order to get people down to the bottom of that funnel to convert, we need to make sure that we're constantly filling the top of the funnel. And what we see with so many clients is their funnels are at risk of being extinguished. So why is that? It's often because they're not focusing on filling it the right way. So how are you filling your funnel? One thing that we hear a lot is that people are only using one method to fill their funnel. And most frequently, that's SEO. So SEO, it's a wonderful thing. It's an important thing that you should be focused on for your company. But SEO can be incredibly turbulent. And if any of you guys out there are SEOs, when I say the words penguin, panda, hummingbird, you probably have a little bit of a PTSD moment, because they aren't these cute little animals, even though they sound like it. They're these terrifying updates that can completely wreak havoc on your SEO strategy, destroy your placement within the listings, and ultimately kill that funnel, right? You're not going to have people flowing into that funnel if your SEO, if you're solely relying on SEO and your SEO performance changes. So it's incredibly turbulent, and you definitely want to think about coupling it with other things in order to ensure that you're protecting yourself from these types of updates. Now, there are a couple of reasons why you want to steer clear of solely focusing on SEO. Well, to be honest, people are oftentimes more likely to click on the paid ads up here at the top than the organic listings down below. And you may be thinking to yourself as a marketer, well, That's crazy. Nobody clicks on ads, right? It's like, duh, everybody knows not to click on ads. But when you think about your mom or your grandma or your dad, did they recognize that these are ads? Probably not. And one thing you're going to see about these ads versus the organic listings is they're so much more enticing. They have so much more information available to you. Some of them even have pictures. So they distract your eye. They give you information that you actually need. And ultimately, you focus on the ads over the organic listings. And I even find myself doing it. I'm a marketer who knows PPC inside and out. I know these are ads, and I have terrible pangs of guilt when I click on them and know that I'm charging somebody some money. But ultimately, it's just these ads have more information, so we're more apt to click on them. They have that bling that entices you. And it's funny, even for ads that are for high commercial intent terms, so where we really expect somebody to convert, we see that we have an even higher amount of clicks on ads versus organic listings. So don't discount the importance of ads on the SERP. Another reason you want to be wary of solely relying on SEO, and this one's kind of really scary. In the last year, Google finally announced that mobile has surpassed desktop. So we are seeing more searches happening on mobile devices than desktop computers. And I bet if you think about your own web activity, this actually strikes a chord. I mean, in the past, I was way more focused on my desktop, but now that I have an iPhone, I'm using it all the time. I'm using it while I'm on the go. I don't look up directions ahead of time anymore. I don't look up restaurant reviews ahead of time anymore. I do it on my phone when I'm en route to said restaurant.
When you're walking 10 miles.
Exactly. As I walk 10 miles, I need something to do.
Right.
But so it's no surprise that we're seeing more searches than on mobile than desktop. The reason that this, again, is scary for SEOs is take a look at this mobile landing page, or I'm sorry, the mobile SERP. What you'll see is no organic listings. Because it's such a small space and the ads appear at the top, they actually push the organic results pretty far down. In fact, for this particular scenario, I had to do 2 full scrolls of my phone before I ever saw an organic listing. So as mobile gets more and more popular, we'll see more click share coming from ads simply because that's what's front and center for people. And you better believe it, if I need a plumber and I'm looking at plumber in Boston, I'm not like leisurely scrolling through. It means that my tub is overflowing and I need a plumber right that minute.
Right.
And I don't care if it's an ad or not. And again, when we go back to what we were looking at before with those blinged out ads, $40 off any service and the option to call directly from the ad, you sell me immediately. So I do believe we're going to see more and more click share going towards ads versus SEO as mobile becomes more and more popular. And then finally, and this is brand new, one thing that's interesting about this SERP, we have ad position 1, 2, 3, and then all of a sudden there's a 4th ad, right? That 4th ad, that didn't exist a couple of weeks ago. This is something brand new that Google finally released. They've been testing it for over 11 years, and they just released this new ad format where we see 4 ads on the top and the rest of the ads down at the bottom of the page. Now, the reason this 4th ad is scary for SEOs is because it pushes all of the organic listings down a little bit further. You see all of these ads are eligible for extensions, meaning they're kind of beefed up, bigger ads than you would typically see. And that addition of the 4th ad just pushes all of those organic results down. So you may have been above the fold organically 4 weeks ago, and now you're below the fold, which could affect SEO. And so far, we actually thought it was going to impact it really heavily. It hasn't been as extreme as we did expect, but we have seen click share numbers go down from an SEO perspective. So what does this mean? It means you have to supplement your SEO efforts. I'm not saying give up on SEO. SEO is incredible and it's important, but if you can supplement it with other methods of filling that funnel, you're protecting your lead flow and ensuring you'll always have people to push further down. So 2 important ways to supplement your SEO efforts. First things first, turn to paid search. As you can see, we talked a lot about how ads were really becoming more prominent on the SERP. So a great way to ensure they are always appearing when people are looking for you is to use paid search. And the great thing about paid search is it's really stable. You can control whether or not you show up. You focus on your quality scores and you focus on your bids, and those are the 2 factors that will determine your position. So when it comes to paid search, you don't have to worry about a penguin, a panda, or a hummingbird coming after you. You are safe and it is in your control. And the other thing you should be doing is using content to engage new fans and put more people into that funnel. I mean, Jamie, this is something that I'm sure you feel pretty passionate about.
I do, yes. I'm a fan.
Thank you. But I do think that this is one of the best ways to find new people, to get people excited about your company, excited about what you're talking about, and then eventually you can use other methods to engage them further and get them down into your funnel to eventually make a purchase. But creating great, interesting, groundbreaking, shareable content is going to get you in front of more and more people. And it almost has this incredible effect. Like if you can create one piece of amazing content, that piece of content can go, it can be syndicated by 1 million different people. You can use it for blog posts, webinars, speaking engagements. One piece of great content can almost have this boomerang effect for you. So another problem that we see amongst a lot of advertisers out there is when they do paid search, they treat all of their traffic equally. And the reason that's concerning is, A, you can't get the right message to the right people at the right time. And we see people spending all of their budgets and saying, hey, wait a sec, I spent all my budget on these people who were moderately interested, but I didn't get any conversions. So I'm going to show you a great way to identify who it is that you're talking to so you can definitely ensure that, A, you're giving them the right message, and B, you're spending most of your money on the traffic that matters. So as it goes, keywords can tell you a ton about a searcher. It's actually pretty incredible. Like, you don't have to have this incredible sense of what your audience needs when you're a paid search manager. You don't have to have a crystal ball. People are straight up hopping online and telling you exactly what they're looking for. And all of that information is saved for you by AdWords. So you know what people are looking for. And as you can see here, this person makes it incredibly clear. She would like a suede over-the-knee boot, size 5.5. If that's not clear, I don't know what is. So the great thing about keywords and looking at the terms that people are searching, those search queries, is you can really identify their intent early on. So we categorize intent 3 different ways. First off, you have those navigational terms, right? Examples, Facebook, Citibank login, White House website. That person knows exactly where they're going. They are probably already sold on you. They may even be your customer. Those are no-brainers. If they know your brand, you definitely want to be bidding on them. We can talk later about whether or not you want to focus heavily on them. Like I said, if they're a customer and they're not going to repurchase something, then maybe you want to be careful, kind of wary of those people. But typically, these navigational searches are great for PPC. Informational searches, they're okay. They're people who are way up at the top of that ice cream cone looking for information, looking for content. If you are selling prenatal drugs, signs of pregnancy, something you want to be bidding on, but that person isn't sure if they're pregnant yet, and they're probably not ready to make a purchase. You know, you want to show up for them, you want to show your information to them, but they are not top priority for you, and I think you can understand why. And then finally, we have these transactional keywords, and these are incredible. These are searchers who are saying, hey, I'm ready to buy something. I am here, ready and willing. I am actively looking for something. I just need you, the advertiser, to give that to me. And of those transactional terms, we see two types. We see the buy now keywords and the product-based keywords. And these are the terms that you absolutely want to be bidding on, prioritizing, and creating ad copy specifically for these groups of people. So you can literally create ad groups for these types of terms. And I'll show you a couple examples of what the terms might look like. So I'm 28 years old, and I literally had to apply for a new credit card a couple of weeks ago because all of my friends thought this would be a great time to get married. And it has been painful. So the wedding season is something that's near and dear and painfully obvious to me right now. So I'll show you a couple of ways that I've spent money on weddings. First things first, I was asked to be my friend's bridesmaid, a task that many women out there know it sounds really great, but it's a lot less great when you actually have to do it. It's a lot of work.
What an honor. It's $2,000.
Exactly. So my friend picked a $500 dress that she wanted me to buy. Now, she dictated the color, the style, basically everything but the size to me. So I didn't have to do a lot of searching. I wasn't looking for a dress. I hopped online. I was on my phone. I was on the bus, sitting there with my credit card out, typing in gray, Elijah dress, the brand was Parker, and the size was medium, all right there. Now that query is a gold mine for an advertiser, right? I am telling them exactly what I want. I have already done my research. I'm ready to go. So they definitely want to prioritize me because I know what I want. Now, when it came to buying the gift, it was a very similar intent, right? Again, I was ready to buy, but I indicated it in a slightly different way. So with the dress, I told them exactly what I wanted. With the gift, I wrote the word buy, literally the word buy in my query. If there are words like buy, purchase, order online in a search query, that person is probably ready to take the plunge. So again, this is a great set of terms you want to really make sure you're capitalizing on. And then finally, this one's a little off topic. I had a rough night a couple nights before the wedding. I mistook a glass door for an open door and lost a tooth. It was really embarrassing. So again, I grabbed my phone and I had to do a search because God knows if I rolled down the aisle with a missing tooth, if this girl ever got married again, I would not be in the wedding. So I took to my phone. I said, broken tooth, what to do? Now, this isn't as clear-cut as those other terms. Those other terms, it was pretty obvious that I was ready to make a purchase. But this term actually falls in the same category. And the reason why is because it was an emergency. Broken tooth, what to do? If somebody's typing that in, they're not screwing around on the internet looking for who the best dentist is in the Boston metro area. They're like, I need a dentist. I need a dentist right now. And the first person I see, I am going to book. And so these emergency type terms are great, especially if you're not an e-commerce advertiser. If you're focused on selling a service, oftentimes emergency really comes into play and you can use it to your advantage. So be sure that you're not discounting terms like this. But these are the three types of terms that tend to be great for paid search and really great for getting people in the funnel and closing them quickly. So once you've identified these terms, we want to prioritize them. The best way to identify them is to actually hop into AdWords and look at what people are already searching. So you can go to your See Search Terms report. You can see everything that people are searching for that your ads have shown for. The raw search terms, not the keywords, but they're raw search terms. So you can get a really good sense of what people are searching for and whether or not they're converting from it or engaging with you from it. That's a great way to find these terms in conjunction with using some of the strategies that I just showed you, kind of the terms that you definitely know are indicating that they're likely to buy. And once you've identified these terms and added them to your account, you need to make bidding adjustments to ensure that they're highly visible to those people, right? If people who are really great opportunities for you, you're bidding on their terms and you're showing up at the bottom of the page, it doesn't matter because you have these great people, but your competitors are going to beat you out to them. So these are the terms you really want to ensure you're getting a high position for. And to get a high position on the Google SERP, you need to focus on both your bids and your quality score. The bidding thing is pretty straightforward. Quality score, not as much. Quality score is really focused on you creating a relevant ad, providing searchers with relevant landing pages and these tightly knit ad groups to ensure that this process works well for people. And it's kind of cool because it's Google's way of saying, hey, you don't have to be the richest person on the block to show up in the first ad space. All you have to do is try really hard and give people an incredible experience, and we'll give you extra credit for doing that. So here's an example of how this works. As you can see, each of these advertisers have elected a specific bid, and they all have different quality scores. Now, the advertiser who's maybe the poorest guy on the block, he's willing to spend the least amount of money. He worked really hard and created an incredible PPC account with keywords that were super relevant, ad groups that were tightly knit, sending people to the perfect ad and the perfect landing page, and he scored a quality score of 10. Even though that guy is maybe the cheapest guy on the block, he is still getting the best position simply because he has a high quality score. And of course, if you look at the reverse, the person who isn't nailing a quality score front but is willing to pay up doesn't work out so well for them. So this really, really highlights an important thing for advertisers to recognize, which is you need to focus not just on your bid, but also on the quality of your paid search account.
Yes.
Yes. So now I will turn it over to Jamie to talk a little bit about, once you find these people, how you can actually get them to move further down the funnel.
Exactly. And hi, guys. Sorry, my mic was off earlier when I introduced myself, so I said lots of witty things, I promise. But yeah, so as Erin said, that was great information, and you did everything perfectly. You listened to her. You're embracing paid search in all the right ways. You have the highest position now. Your quality scores through the roof, even though you're paying $1. It's all awesome. You earned it. Way to go. People are seeking your brand, and they're landing on your website. Well, what do you do with them from there? Just with everything in marketing, all of this it doesn't live in a vacuum. It all kind of works in conjunction together, because what we're trying to do ultimately is get people to the bottom of that ice cream cone. We don't just want them up top in the sprinkle zone there. And so, Erin said a lot of words that you'll hear me echo as well in the sort of section here about email. Things like mobile, really changing the game, above the fold real estate mattering. Most importantly, though, the thing that she touched on that I think, as you can see, wins every time is relevancy. So that's really what we're going to focus on today, as we kind of look here at all the factors that go into truly nurturing these people and getting them through that funnel, because that's our goal at the end of the day. So I'm clicking here. There we go. Oh, here. Sorry. Spoiler alert.
And the same problem. So you get trigger happy.
I'm so excited. Well, first and foremost, so I land on your site. What do you do with me now? Well, you see these all over the place. In email marketing world, the name or the specific term for this is actually a lightbox form. You are served these. They are trendy. You see them all over the place. And essentially what you're doing with these forms and why you're seeing them everywhere, they're actually working, and they're working way better than those tried and true sort of embedded forms. That doesn't mean that you get rid of your embedded form forever, but whenever you see something that's this constant out there online, you can bet that there's probably some data that correlates to why it's happening. And the figure is, when implemented on average forums like this that are asking for information or asking for email addresses actually can see almost a 46% uptick in new signups. We actually implemented one on our site when we launched the feature, in Emma, we use Emma, and our list grew. It was like it was like 300%. Like it was like this astronomical figure, and they work because people are busy and distracted. But this precious sort of effective real estate at the this top of funnel kind of touch point, or for us with top of funnel, it can be even more effective when you are serving something that's valuable, not just asking for something up front, which is this great example that just happens to be from WordStream. This is a great example of a light box and sort of this first interaction point on your site, because they're giving away content, and as Erin said earlier, content is fantastic. I'm a big fan personally of great content, and modern consumers, just like Erin was saying too, they're not ignorant. Erin knows that those are ads at the top of that Google search. We know that this is a gate. We know this is a content gate. We're trying to get someone's email address, but there's actually an exchange of goods happening here, and when you can make people feel better about what you're trying to do, you're not just trying to exercise a hard sell. You actually create an experience for them right out of the gate that positions your brand as someone that's valuable and knowledgeable and actually cares about the consumer experience. And that matters because 64% of consumers, when polled by Gleanster, say that the experience they're having with a brand overall is way more important than price, ultimately, in choosing to do business with that brand. So just by virtue of serving something that actually helps me do my job better at this very first touch point, not only are you more likely, just by the nature of it popping up in my face to get my information, but you're actually ensuring that I'm probably a higher qualified person to be on your list because I want your knowledge. So that's great. So I join your list. Wonderful, all good. So, what happens now? Well, 94% of people are saying that they get online to check their email. That's actually the #1 activity. #2 is using that search engine and trying to fix your tooth and buy a dress and all that kind of stuff. And if you think about it, it actually checks out.
Jamie, it sounds like we lost you. We're trying to get her back online, guys. Give me just 1 minute. Oh, she was on such a roll there, too.
Am I back?
Ah, there we go.
Oh my goodness, I don't know what happened there. All right. Where was I? Yeah, so we're spending a ton of time in our inboxes, obviously. So as a marketer, that there's some numbers on your side essentially there, because this is where I'm spending my time. However, these inboxes are crowded. This is also where I'm communicating with my boss. This is where I'm communicating with my family. It's where I'm communicating with other brands that matter to me. So just by virtue of showing up, that's good, but it's only half the battle. However, if you can, and we will talk about some strategies to stand out in this inbox, some really interesting things start to happen. So email is not just popular, it actually is a very, have I lost my clicker here? There we go. There we go. It's actually where people are making purchases. So 66% of online consumers have actually made a purchase directly as a result of an email. So think about it. The great example that Erin gave out earlier, I may look something up. I may abandon the site and not look immediately. If you are serving me content about the thing that I'm looking for, that's pretty powerful. And we'll look at some examples of that here in a little bit.
J.Crew gets me on this almost daily.
Yeah,
We've
exactly.
got it down to a science, but you're totally right. I think back so many times where I felt guilty because I was going to spend too much money, and I was like, oh, I won't do it. And then I get an email in my inbox, and it's just like the double whammy where you're like, oh, man, all right, fine, I'll do it.
Absolutely. Well, and to your point, mobile is killing SEO, but mobile's also it's not a killer across the board. With email, you can make up some of that room, because over half of all emails opened first on a mobile device. So Litmus states around 54%. As a result, 71% of mobile purchasing decisions are most influenced by emails. So you think about it, you're sitting on the bus, you're sitting on the train, maybe you're Googling stuff, we're playing on our phones all day long, and you may not even directly purchase from that email, but the emails that you're receiving that are directly tied to the products you're looking at are getting really great results and really high conversions. And that's probably why just sort of across the board, the ROI for email as a channel that actually pushes and pulls people through the funnel, the ROI is more than double that of every other sort of digital channel as far as it being directly tied to sales. So it's pretty cool. However, again, it is not magical in and of itself. Just showing up is half the battle. There's strategy involved. And so a question that we sort of use here at Emma, and honestly, Erin touched on it in her world too, we always have to ask ourselves the questions. And when we talk to our customers and clients, it's this, again, sending the email is not the magical piece. It's actually sending the right message to the right people at the right time. That's what actually, is happening when people are converting. So how do you do this? So you got my email address earlier. You served me some great content. Well, you have to say hello, and that's kind of our first step, because you have to remember that I'm a human being. I'm looking at wedding dresses. I have broken teeth. I'm also making major purchasing decisions on behalf of my company in a B2B, space as well. It's not just that I'm a consumer. I'm a consumer on behalf of lots of different facets of my life in every situation. And so this is a really great example of just a welcome note that showed up when I signed up for something on my mobile device. I am a jet setter. I'm on the go. I'm reading things on my phone. And it's the most simple but effective email strategy. When we talk about automation, getting my email address and immediately sending me something and introducing yourself, telling me what this relationship is going to be like. Again, remember, there are real relationships happening in my inbox with people that I actually know and that actually care about me. So as a brand, your task is kind of to replicate this experience, essentially. And also, emails like this can get a whopping 50% open rate. So when you talk about the expectation of just being here, this is a pretty huge and sadly still overlooked step in a lot of people's email strategy. But it's important because subscribers who receive welcome notes actually show 33% longer engagement with your brand overall. Again, if you say hi to me, we meet on the street and then you don't talk to me or say a few pleasant words, that's going to feel weird, and the inbox is the same exact way. But the real magic, when we talk about getting the right message to the right people, especially at this all-important first touch point, is really this series of emails, the welcome series. And I'll kind of rattle through the cadence for this. I mean, the first email, obviously, that should always happen immediately. There's no reason to wait, unless you told me that we're waiting for some reason, like, hey, I'll send you something in an hour. I don't know why you would do that, but, you send the first one immediately. Maybe a few days later, and you don't ask for too much. Maybe you give them something. You give them a great piece of content that you said you would give them, or you just tell them what you're all about. That second message, though, show them something else. Give them an exclusive piece of content. Actually start to make them feel special because they're in this place in your world. Start to also send them maybe 2 pieces of content or 2 CTAs in one of these emails, because what I click and what I actually interact with can give you even more data. You already gleaned a lot of data from me during the search process, but now you have even more information about me based on what I'm doing and how I'm interacting with these emails, because you can see all that activity. Maybe by that third touch point, that's when you pull out the social proof. The best way, as we all know as marketers, it works in email, it works everywhere. Tell me how other people are experiencing your products, or tell me how their lives have been changed. Give me a testimonial. And then kind of down the road, maybe by a 4th or 5th touch, that's when we've been on a few dates, we've been talking for a little while, we know each other. Then you can actually say, hey, this is an exchange of goods. This is a fiduciary thing. Do you want to talk to somebody? Do you want to actually buy this? Do you want this guide that has a little bit more of a call to action to it? But setting up this this sort of experience right out of the gate is the easiest way to start to get the right messages and start to learn what you need to know with just one interaction, which is super powerful. But we're here today to talk about more than just, that first touch point. We're here to talk about the ongoing sort of nurture that can happen with email and how it can continue to sort of draw people closer to your brand. And if you can start to get people in the right places at the right time, that's what it's all about. So when we talk about them as functions of an email marketing program, we're talking about list segmentation. We're talking about specifically serving dynamic content in the messages to the right people, and we're talking about automating those processes so that they're happening on my timeline. The consumer has now taken control. You need to be where they are when they're there, and they expect that from your brand, and email can help you get closer to it. But it's not just the timing. Again, the right message is most important. So custom content is really what it's all about in email. Gone are the days of that batch and blast sort of newsletter to all 700 people that is the kitchen sink. And if you can do that, people love it. 90% of consumers find custom content useful, which sounds like a no-brainer. That's a super high percentage. And a useful brand is a brand that I trust. It's a brand I want to buy things from. And email, again, is a really effective way to leverage and organize and then communicate with people in a way that feels valuable, human, personal. And if you can do that, fun stats, it works. Guess what? Personalized emails deliver 6 times higher transaction rates, but you're not alone if you're not doing this yet, because 70% of brands are behind in this way. They feel like this is a struggle that they're having. 46% of B2B customers actually say that they consider tailored offers to them as extremely significant activities in terms of maintaining or growing their relationship with a business provider. And, downloads and tracking a customer's interaction with, mid-funnel sort of content, that's a perfect way to begin triggering that kind of relevant email that gets me closer to converting. And relevant emails drive 18 times more revenue than broadcast emails. Again, that batch and blast mentality. It's not just going out of style because it's old-fashioned. It's the data supports that emails that sort of get and speak to me a little bit more directly are where it's at. And leads that are nurtured over a longer period of time with targeted content actually produce higher sales opportunities. So the quality of, it's not just the quantity that you're playing here, again, to echo Erin, it's the quality of the experience. All of that goes up. And also, when you're serving me relevant content, I am a smarter, more informed consumer. And when I do convert, I'm going to be a better customer. And I'm going to trust your brand a little bit more. So now I'm going to kind of hop into sort of the example palooza, because that's how I learn best. So we all know this is good. So a job well done with email, with personalization and targeting looks a little something like this. So here's some of my favorites. The greatest hits. Well, you talk about emails, again, just showing up in the inbox. It's crowded. Subject lines matter. Personalized subject lines are actually 22.2, really specific, more likely to be opened that comes to us from Redestra, and probably a no-brainer. Subject lines with a sense of urgency and exclusivity also can lift those open rates significantly. I love this example from Uber because they're not cheesily putting my name in the title, which that's not out of style, but you're seeing it less and less. They're just talking to me directly, and they're saying, hey, if I'm skimming and scanning, first of all, it mimics how real people talk, the places you've been. It sounds really mysterious and lofty, and they're just saying you. So I go, where have I been? I want to find out. And then I open the email, and the messaging is congruent with what that subject line is. This is absolutely fantastic. They could have also said, the places you've been, open now and save immediately, and that maybe would have gotten me even faster. But standing out in a crowded inbox matters, and this is a great way. And again, you don't have to throw the kitchen sink of personalization tags out there. You can really just think about your language and the relevancy to me in general.
I think this is something that draws over really nicely to paid search. The exact same way. I mean, you're competing with a SERP full of ads and organic listings, and the headline, crafting an enticing, personalized headline is critical, and it's what makes you stand out. And a lot of what you see working well in email might work well in paid search, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like, take what works and nail it. Use it on every format that you can, because if it works well on email, it will probably work while on paid search do.
Well, and I think it's you make a great point. We're human beings at the end of the day. I don't stop being Jamie because I work at Emma and I also buy shoes, during lunch or whatever it might be. Like I'm the same type of consumer and it's sort of just human nature. Like we're innately going to respond to language that feels like another human wrote it. So and this sort of leads into this example really, really well. So this is actually a nonprofit, and this is brilliant, and it's super simple. They know my colleague Nora's last name, and so they paired her with a teacher. This is like a classroom giving nonprofit, and they just wrote this cute poem. She has the same name as you. Do you want to support Mrs. Snotty, who has the same last name as you? And it's just super smart, and it just goes to show that like donors choose. They're a nonprofit. They don't have giant coffers. They're asking for donations with this, but they're using the same tactics that Uber, who probably has a much bigger budget and team around them, can do. And I think this goes back to what Erin was saying really well. Gone are the days when it's the person that has all the right, the most money, the biggest budget. We now have, just like our consumers have access to more information than ever before, we as marketers have more access to information than ever before that is affordable and accessible to us, and it's really how we use it and the strategies behind it. It's not your bank account. You can spend $1 and have the highest score with your PPC, and you can spend very little on email marketing and see super high ROI and super high returns. So I think I'll get off that soapbox, but yeah, it's about the strategy, not your spend sometimes at the end of the day. It's also about the structure of your mailings. This is a great example of content. When we say content relevancy, we'll look at some more really specific examples. This is a great example of content that was created clearly for a giant, broad audience, for the internet at large, but this email frames it in a way that makes me feel like it's for me. First of all, I got this email with before other people did, before on the internet. They're using you're going to love this show. It's clear, it's direct, it's super easy for me, first and foremost, to interact with this. And I have some really great stats. So video and email is super powerful. And so if you're seeing this more and more, again, if there's a trend in your inbox, that's because people are so copy it. So just saying video in the subject line can increase your opens by 19%. Videos can increase click-throughs by 65%. So you talk about the data that you're gathering in my interactions, or getting me to a landing page that's going to get me to maybe buy something more, drawing me in closer. The email is the vehicle to get me where I can convert. Yeah, and so it's just fantastic. And again, that above the fold real estate matters big time in email because 80% of people are just scanning your messaging. So the structure of how you build it is important. This is a great example from Airbnb. Again, they're just plugging in. I looked up Taos. They know that. That's my activity on their website. That is an interaction I had. And then they serve me an email that just plugs that in. And so it's not like, hey, Jamie, here's a deal. It's, hey, Jamie, this is exactly what we know you like. Here it is. And I'm going to be much more likely to be enticed to go through. This is a prime example of dynamic content done really subtly based on my buying behavior. They're baking in some assumptions that I'm either a man or a woman. I could be shopping for my brother, but they don't know that. Also, side by side is in a nerdy webinar is the only time you notice I've done this. I'm not going to be alienated either way, but this subtle form of just plugging in who I identify with as a human can have a huge impact. And same here, this is a less common approach, but Bob's Red Mill is doing it based on gluten and gluten-free, which, and again, it's the data that they have about their audiences, and they're using this to their advantage here to segment, and it works and it converts at a high level. One thing, and I think important, a type of email, if you're not considering this, it's great to send me stuff when I am engaging. It's even more important to talk to me when I'm not engaging with your brand. Emails like this can actually, studies have shown by Return Path, found that 45% of recipients who receive emails like this, these win-back emails when I haven't engaged, are more likely to read subsequent mailings. They may have not, they obviously haven't been opening or they wouldn't have gotten this, but your brand bubbles back up. They want to be a part of this experience and they appreciate it. And also they're getting a discount, which is pretty nice. So automating processes and paying attention to my activity, whether it's active or passive or not active, can have some really great results. Also, dynamic content, again, this above-the-fold real estate that is directly tied to where I am in your buying cycle. If I've already bought a ticket, don't try to sell me tickets again. You may still want to give me this information, but acknowledge where I am in your world, or risk alienating me, or just risk leaving money on the table. You definitely want to utilize this if you have this data. And also, this is much more efficient for you as the marketer. This is one email created once with 3 different images based on a data field. So that's what we talk about when we say dynamic content and its power. Excuse me, and here's Uber again, and really what they're doing, they kill it with their email marketing. They create a fully formed experience. It's an app company. They've raised the bar, and actually 77% of executives, corporate executives, agreed to some extent that the companies like Uber, these consumer app companies, have changed the game. So if you're not on these lists, get on lists like Uber, Lyft, these savvy brands, and pay attention to what they're doing, because you are now competing with Uber, whether you or Lyft or not. If you're a nonprofit, this is what's in my inbox, and this is super relevant, super tied to me, and it worked on me. I actually was like, yes, I do want to be a VIP. I will enroll. Also, it looks fantastic on a mobile device, because could you imagine if an app's emails looked bad on your phone? So it's vitally important that that experience makes sense across the board. And my final example before I kick it back to Erin is from AAA, and this is a great example. This is my broken tooth email. This is a great example of it's to me. The last time I called them, I had a dead battery. Awesome. This is great. Super relevant. I got this email a month after that happened. So the right time is vital. Guess what's a significant thing that ruins my day? Having a dead battery and not being able to drive to my job. So guess what I did immediately? I called AAA and they fixed my battery. So had they, sent me something that said, hey, we know your battery died, but have you checked your tires lately? That could have been incredibly effective. Or if they just sent me this mailing before that happened, knowing that I haven't bought a new one in 5 years, it all just sort of shakes out to the right message, to the right people at the right time. Use that data, and sign up for a lot of lists and pay attention to what others are doing. That's one of the best ways to learn. So I'm going to kick it back over to Erin, who's kind of bring us on home with even more tactics to drive people even further.
Yeah, and I think you gave a lot of great advice, and I think a lot of it holds true from email over to paid search and vice versa. Like I said, switch up your headlines, focus on what other people are doing.
Yeah.
See what's working for other people, and don't hesitate to emulate that. There's nothing wrong with doing that as long as you're putting your own spin on it. So I wanted to close it out by talking a little bit about those stubborn people who don't convert. Because if you think about it, you just put a ton of work into getting them there, right? Maybe you filled your funnel with SEO or paid search, and then you're email marketing the crap out of them, and you have these people who are genuinely interested and excited in what you want to do or what you're selling, and they don't take the plunge, and it hurts. So consider the decision-making cycle. In a lot of scenarios, people are not making the decision right off the bat. They are doing a ton of shopping. So if you think about, again, my friend planning her honeymoon, she's doing research about her honeymoon, and she is all over the place. She's like, should I go to Paris? And for a week, she's all about going to Paris. And then 2 weeks later, she's like, oh, it's cliche, doing Bali. And then the next thing you know, she's booking a trip to Prague, and she's almost like playing with all these marketers' hearts, right? Because she's clicking on their ads, she's getting their emails, she's spending time on their site. She might even be putting things in their carts, but she's getting really distracted. And this is something we see a lot. I mean, if you look at the average goldfish, it has a longer attention span than my absolutely genius boss. A goldfish rolls in at 9 seconds, and the average attention span of a human being is 8 seconds. So she's like this, almost like a puppy. It's like everything she sees, she gets excited about. And again, playing with our stats and playing with our hearts. And if you've worked so hard to get somebody this far, you need to drive it home and convince them to convert. So rather than showing them your ad once, you need to show them the ad a couple times. It's almost like taking a girl on a date. Like, you might take her out to dinner, but she probably won't go home with you that night. But if you take her out to dinner like 3 or 4 times, you might bring her home that night. So you have to nurture these people. You have to get back and continue to remind them how much they absolutely love you so that they convert. So how do you patch that leaky funnel? Best way to do it is remarketing. And you guys are probably familiar with some format of remarketing. For those who aren't, it's a super simple concept. Somebody makes it to your site, they spend time on your site, they leave your site, and for those people who leave your site, you start showing them ads for you on other sites. So as they go about their daily activities online, we know people spend tons of time online, they are seeing your ad and they're reminded of you. And you're kind of back in their brain and nurturing them without them even noticing it. And I'm a search marketer. I know the ins and outs of remarketing. I've set up a bunch of campaigns. It works on me too. It works like a charm. Ironically, this is another wedding that I attended this year with my family. And that dress was far outside of my budget. I literally was at risk of overdrawing my account, so I held off on buying it. And I saw the ad a few times, and next thing you know, I bought the dress. Because it was almost like fate, like I had to have it because I kept seeing it online.
Right.
And yeah, right? You really convince yourself it's meant to be. The reality is it's somebody on the other end putting that ad in front of you because they know you're an easy target.
You're weak. Yeah.
You're weak, exactly. And I apologize, let me skip back to this for 1 second. When you think about the messaging you want to give these people, you know they've already been to your site. Maybe they've put something in a shopping cart and abandoned it. We see about 70% of people abandon the shopping cart, which is just a painful number. So think about what those people want to know. Is it a discount that will bring them back? Is it reminding them that you have free shipping or reminding them that you have a return policy? You know, think about why they abandoned that shopping cart, what those possibilities are, and in your ads, speak to those things that they're hesitant about. Speak to their objections. Use it as an opportunity to fight those objections. You don't need to tell them who you are. They already know who you are. They've spent time with you already. You need to start selling them with these ads and giving them messages that matter. And then finally, I wanted to close it out by reminding you that you might be underestimating your absolute top prospects. And who are those people? It's their existing customers. If you have a great business model and people love you and they're super happy, use them to your advantage. Keep working with them. You see Amazon, like people literally love Amazon so much that they draw hearts on the boxes.
Yeah.
And these people are going back to Amazon and spending tons of money on Amazon. So cross-sell, upsell, and resell with this identity-based PPC. A couple of ways you can do this. Let me step back. If you think about that dress that I bought, whoever sold me that dress, if they sell shoes, get me to buy shoes. You know I bought a dress. You know exactly what it looks like. Show me a few pairs of shoes I might be interested in buying to go with that dress. And you have this kind of slam dunk, perfect approach, almost like the McDonald's, hey, you bought a burger. You want fries with that? Well, you probably do now that you say it. Yeah, it's like, I was trying to be good, but now that you say fries, I'm on board. So definitely use this as an opportunity. You know what they bought. Upsell them, resell them. Best ways to do this, Facebook audiences are awesome. You can upload a list of emails to Facebook. Facebook will match those emails to the Facebook profiles and show those people the ads that you've set for them. So you can upload these really customized lists and show people really customized ads. Another thing you can do, AdWords' new customer match feature, this was literally released like 3 months ago or so. And it's very similar to Facebook. Again, you take emails from your database, upload them, Google will match them to people's Gmails or other addresses. They don't have to have a Gmail. They'll identify those users when they're logged in and show them ads on YouTube, Google, or Gmail. So it's all about getting in front of those people you already know and giving them messages that you know are going to work for them.
Yeah.
And we actually tested it, and we were a little bit skeptical of Google's customer match. This is very new for Google. They have long been against identity-based marketing, and as you can see here, they actually are nailing it. So they have just slightly over the match rate that Facebook does. So definitely worthwhile to explore both of these strategies, especially because you already do have these emails, know a lot about these people. Why not leverage them in a different way?
Yep. And well, I was going to say too, I think, when it comes to, sometimes you talk about this stuff and people are like, is this ethical? Like, what does this mean? And I really think, I like to echo some of the stats I threw out earlier, where it's gone are the days, like we know we're being advertised to. We know on the internet this is not, this free zone where we're not going to be seeing advertisements and that sort of thing. I mean, people are, especially if you are a B2B brand and you're marketing to other marketers like we are, we know that a lot of our audience members are fully aware of what we're doing. And so I think that there's some transparency that you can point it out. Also, people want that relevant content. They're actually raising their hand. And like I said, 90% of people say, send me custom content. Like, I'm actually going to be annoyed if you don't. So you're
it's not creepy. It's not creepy anymore. People are responding because it is customized, expecting it to be customized, especially millennials. And so if you're not doing it, eventually, like you said, it's like it becomes outdated. If you don't stick with what people are doing, you're going to get lost behind.
Well, and there's, it's funny. I love that you had the goldfish stat in there, because we've used that in a presentation before about just sort of how the human brain reacts to email marketing, and we actually have gut reactions in even less time than that. So like the sort of immediate fight or flight happens in like 3 seconds flat, and so which is longer than it seems when you actually count it out, but it's not a very long time when you're trying to get somebody to click something, a call to action or go forward. And so the more sort of tools in your arsenal that you can stack up to help you get in front of the right people at the right time with the right stuff, whether it's an ad or once they're in your world in your email. I mean, you're gonna make smarter prospects and customers, and loyal prospects and customers, because they know that you're paying attention and you know what you're doing.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
Yay!
Well, guys, that was amazing, and I definitely had some takeaways I wrote down here myself for some things that we'll apply here in our email campaigns at WordStream. So thanks, Jamie, for all of your entertaining and amazing content.
You're welcome.
I know we're running a little short on time, but we do have some special offers for our audience today. So hold on one second, guys. So for anyone who maybe you're kind of new to AdWords, or you just want to get like a gut check on like, am I doing this right? Like, does this actually make sense? We're offering a free 1-hour consultation to review your AdWords account and give you some tactical strategies for improvement. So if you guys want to take advantage of that, feel free to opt in. And then Emma has graciously offered a discount for their upcoming conference. And Jamie, I know you had some talking points you wanted to add.
Yeah. So the conference, just to give you guys a bird's eye view, it covers the marketing landscape. It's here in Nashville. It's called Marketing United. We've got some great keynotes like Ann Handley and Jay Baer and Scott Stratton. Something for everybody. And the discounted rate is $100 off of our advanced ticket rate right now. So super fantastic. We would love all of you to come and join us if that's of interest to you, and we'll follow up with what that looks like. So let us know.
Woo. And we'll try to be there too. So we're excited.
Please.
So we do have a couple questions here that I wanted to jump into before we lose people, and I'll close the poll here in just a second. So the first question is for Erin. Erin, how do you recommend consistently creating amazing shareable content? Like, are there any strategies you have to kind of just continue doing that?
Yeah, and Jamie, feel free to jump in, because I know this is in your wheelhouse as well.
Yeah.
We've found a couple of things at WordStream. A lot of it is understanding what people are interested in and looking for. Like, you need to be answering people's questions, and you can spend a lot of time, even in your AdWords account, looking through the keyword tool to identify what types of question queries are getting a ton of volume. And if there isn't content on that already, that is your time to kind of swoop in and answer that question, and hopefully you'll get this great, well-ranked content for that. Another thing, like Jamie mentioned, the headline is like so critical. I can't tell you how many people would totally ignore a blog post if it had a crappy headline, and if it had an amazing headline, it would get tons of traffic. My trick to finding clickable, exciting headlines is to spend time in this tool called BuzzSumo, and there's actually a free version of BuzzSumo online.
Yeah.
Plug in, sometimes I honestly even will do BuzzFeed in there. Sometimes I plug in HubSpot or other things in our space to get an idea of exactly what pieces of content they've created have gotten a ton of shares and social traffic. And if it's super shareable and other people like those headlines, I'll try and riff off those or use a similar structure for mine, and it works like a charm, requires no creativity. So those are a couple of tricks I use. What about you, Jamie?
Yeah, no, I mean, we do similar things at Emma. I mean, when it comes to our content, I think with everything that we've discussed, thus far, it's letting the data inform what's happening. Your data that's out there, the stats and examples that you see out in the world, but also looking at your own audience, with email marketing and with everything Erin's discussed. There's tracking in place for that. You can see when you're sending an email that's, features X type of content, if people aren't engaging with that, that's a pretty great indicator that there could be an issue. Like maybe your open rate's high, but they're not actually clicking things in the mailing itself, and there's a content piece, it's sort of follow the data, follow the downloads. And for us, we found, there are certain principles that human beings, listicles, BuzzFeed exists. I mean, there's research behind it. Your brain can process images that are in a list much better than they can when they're in a big paragraph. It's just the way our eyes and our brains and those gut reactions work. So those are popular for a reason. They are converting for a reason. Same thing with those pop-ups, anything that's a trend online, whether it's a technical thing or a content trend that you're seeing, assess whether that's correct for your audience, because most likely, if it's popular, if it's a format that you're seeing, there's probably a stat that backs it up because people are getting clicks or money or something from it. So we definitely look at that, and we want to make sure that, if things have performed well with our prospects in the past, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and knowing your audience and just, again, serving them that relevant content. Your audience is going to tell you what they want and how you can bring the most value, and it's up to you to listen and then deliver that in a really direct and meaningful and hopefully fast way.
Awesome. So I know we're over time, so I know there's a lot of awesome questions out there, and unfortunately we're not going to be able to get to them right now, but WordStream and Emma will put our heads together. Maybe we'll write a blog post for you guys to get back on some of these questions. Otherwise, definitely feel free to hit us up on Twitter. We can get back to you that way.
Yes, if you have any questions for me, I have a total Twitter addiction, so tweet at me, and I promise I will answer you. Probably in the middle of the night or early in the morning when I'm on the bus, checking my email.
Just walking. Well, I was going to say, you guys too can email. I would do it at Emma. That way all the best minds can get on it. But at Emma email is our Twitter handle, and we'll definitely, again, we'll put our heads together and figure out the best ways, because I know we had tons of questions, which is exciting. So
and thank you guys. Thank you so much to Emma. We really appreciate working with you guys. It's been fabulous. Erin, thank you for your thought leadership as always. Guys, it's been fun. Hopefully we'll do this again soon, and tune in for our next webinar, guys. Thanks so much for your time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.